On October 28, 1991, a bomb exploded at the home of Thomas Leroy Shea in the Roslindale neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. On December 16, 1992, a federal grand jury issued a 5-count indictment. My name is Alfred Trinkler. I was charged with conspiring with Tom Shea to build a bomb to kill his father.
What's keeping Alfred in prison now, tragically, appears to be simply embarrassment, the fear of embarrassment.
Once I asked Alfred something about the passage of time, and I said something about it must go really slowly, and he said what's scary is how fast it goes. Within days of the bombing, the police came to ask questions. They were concerned, it had to do with the bombing in Roslindale. So that was the big shock for everybody. More than one article made Alfred out to be someone who got away with a very serious crime in '86, and in the minds of many, would not get away with '91.
And the police said, a 1986 firecracker and a 1991 bomb. We have solved the case. They were both triggered by remote control radio devices, but that's only a coincidence.
The ATF claimed the Roslindale bomb that killed Officer Hurley was similar to a prank device I assembled in 1986. That claim is false.
There was no connection, no causation. And the police had their theories, and they pursued the theories without enough facts.
They found a wooden box that I had used for target practice, and it happened to be made of plywood. It was, completely different than the one in Roslindale, but still it was a wooden box, and it had circles on it, and they were quite intrigued with that.
The police don't think the bomb was meant for my father, and I myself don't think it was meant for my father. I think the bomb was meant for myself.
Thomas A. Shea gave a press conference on the night of the 31st of October, 1991. And in it, he accused someone of being the real perpetrator of this crime. He was questioned thoroughly by Boston police homicide detectives, and they went through his personal items. And among them was Alfred's business card was found in his wallet. So when they saw that Alfred had done something in '86, and that Shea knew Alfred, I believe at that moment they said, case closed, we've got our guys, now it's just we got to build the rest of the case.
I've been working on this case since his brother came to me in 2006, and I told his family that if I found any evidence whatsoever that Alfred was involved in this crime, I would stop work. I don't need to do this. And ever since then, everything I've found supports his innocence.
It evolved quickly into portraying Alfred as some type of predator.
Though the police used my presumed sexuality as a primary motive for the crime, no one ever asked me if I was gay or not. Not once.
It became clear that he had evolved into a suspect. They tried to make it appear that this was all Alfred's idea.
There's no connection between Alfred Trinkler and the 1991 bomb. Alfred had absolutely zero motive for this crime. There was no physical evidence whatsoever that he had anything to do with it. It was a case of coincidence leading the police to think there was a connection, thinking there was causation, and there wasn't even a connection.
There were 6 other suspects when the investigation began. Within a few short weeks, the list had narrowed to 3 primary suspects: Thomas Arthur Shea, Thomas Leroy Shea, his father, and me.
There was tremendous political pressure. There was tremendous local pressure. It was a very hostile and vengeful and vindictive atmosphere, which was being fanned by the local media at every turn.
The prosecutors, unbeknownst to defense lawyers, asked Lindholm's judge to reduce his sentence.
Lindholm claimed I confessed to him. In return, he received a more than 50% reduction in his sentence for drug trafficking, even though the federal prosecutors claimed he received no promise of a sentence reduction.
They chose to present as a witness to the jury a person who they knew to be a liar. They just didn't tell the jury that.
Lindholm lied.
Shea was hanging out looking for a ride home, and Alfred happened to be there. He gave him a ride home. Donna Shea made allegations that Alfred was some kind of predator and went after teenage boys.
Tom Shea was a disturbed young teenager who was lacking one thing in his life. He was lacking love and friendship.
If Shea found anyone who might show any interest in him whatsoever, that became someone he'd love to spend time with. He craved affection, craved attention from just about anybody. They saw each other on a handful of occasions. It was later described as this intense relationship where they saw each other all the time, when in fact it was limited to a handful of meetings.
What we've been seeking in this case has been a reinvestigation. I've been asking the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Department of Justice, and the Boston Police Department just look at some very basic questions about this case. 4 jurors wrote to the judge and told that judge that they had made a mistake in their voting guilty for Alfred Trinkler, and they asked for a retrial or for reinvestigation. A 5th juror read a Boston Herald story about the first 4 jurors, and he wrote to me and said that he would write to the judge as well, but he didn't need to read my book because he knew that Alfred was innocent.
People knowingly and willingly told falsehoods under oath. People manipulated the evidence that did exist. They downplayed exculpatory evidence. They withheld evidence which pointed to alternate suspects.
Alfred Trinkler is perfectly innocent of any involvement in the crimes for which he was convicted. He had absolutely nothing to do with building or placing or detonating the bomb that killed Officer Jeremiah Hurley on October 28, 1991.
No physical evidence, no credible motive, a web of lies, prosecutorial misconduct, and a weak defense. I am Alfred Trinkler. I am in the 18th year of 2 consecutive life sentences. Ask me more questions.